And let us think about the moral implications of the recent refusal by the APA's PENS task force to offer any specific guidance about which techniques, including waterboarding, might constitute cruelty or torture. In late 2002, Defense Secretary Rumsfeld appointed General Jeffrey Miller to command Guantanamo with wide latitude for interrogation, making this prison into an ad hoc behavioral science laboratory. Moving beyond the original attack on sensory receptors, universal to all humans, that were the foundation of the CIA's psychological torture paradigm, Guantanamo's interrogators stiffened the psychological assault by exploring Arab cultural sensitivity, sexuality, gender identity, and fear of dogs. Here we recall, of course, the adaptable nature of the paradigm. Each extensive application produces innovation. This is innovation. General Miller also formed behavioral science consultation teams of military psychologists who probed each detainee for individual phobias such as fear of dark or attachment to murder. Lieutenant General Kiley, in his celebratory article on the behavioral science consultation team, said their task was to find the buttons. Through this total three-phase attack on sensory receptors, culture identity, and individual psyche, Guantanamo perfected the CIA's psychological paradigm. Significantly, after regular inspections of Guantanamo from 2002 to 2004, the International Red Cross reported, and I quote, "The construction of such a system cannot be considered other than an intentional system of cruel, unusual, and degrading treatment and a form of torture, To illustrate these techniques, let me now show a 2-minute segment from a recent documentary film titled The Road to Guantanamo, about the 3 British Muslim detainees known as the Tipton Three, that recreates from their perspective, the victim's perspective, their interrogation. It's the best single representation I've seen of the techniques. Although powerful cinema, this depiction cannot capture, of course, the full impact of interrogation that continues for days and weeks with the real interrogator, like some demonic DJ, alternating surfeit denial of sensory stimulus, light then dark, sound then silence, heat then cold, all mixed and matched to the victim's persona to break down any capacity for resistance. These enhanced interrogation policies, and by the way, those guys confessed. They confessed, by God. It works. They confessed to participating. They were shown a video of 50 people in a field in Afghanistan before 9/11, reverentially listening to Osama bin Laden. They confessed that, yes, that's me, after this experience. That's me, that's me, that's me. No, anything. Of course, MI5 flew to Guantanamo with evidence that they weren't actually in the field there. One guy was on parole and was reporting weekly to a magistrate in the UK. Another guy was working in an electronics store, and they had his timesheets from the store near London. So they lied just to stop it, okay? They confessed to being acolytes of Osama bin Laden. These enhanced interrogation policies, originally used only against top Al-Qaeda operatives, soon proliferated to involve thousands of ordinary Iraqis when Baghdad suffered a wave of terror bombings in mid-2003 that launched the resistance to U.S. occupation. After a visit from the Guantanamo Chief General Miller in September 2003, the U.S. Commander for Iraq, General Ricardo Sanchez, issued orders for sophisticated psychological torture. Now, as I read from those orders, please listen for the defining components of psychological torture, specifically sensory disorientation, self-inflicted pain, and that most recent innovation, attacks on Arab cultural sensitivities. I quote, U, environmental manipulation, altering the environment to create moderate discomfort, e.g. adjusting temperatures or introducing unpleasant smell. V, sleep adjustment, adjusting the sleeping cycles of the detainee, e.g. reversing the sleeping cycles from night to day. X, isolation, isolating the detainee from other detainees for 30 days. Y, presence of military working dogs, exploits Arab fear of dogs while maintaining security during interrogations. AA, yelling, loud music, and light control, used to create fear, disorient detainee, and prolong capture shock. CC, stress positions, use of physical posturing, sitting, standing, kneeling, prone, etc. Indeed, my review of the 1,600 still classified Abu Ghraib photos on the DIS of the Army Criminal Investigation Command, the photos taken by the interrogators at Abu Ghraib, reveals not random idiosyncratic acts from separate sadistic minds, but just 3 torture techniques repeated over and over, ad nauseum, ad infinitum: hooding for sensory deprivation, short shackling, long shackling, and enforced standing for self-inflicted pain, and total nudity, sexual humiliation, and dogs for that recent innovation, exploration of Arab cultural sensitivity. It is no accident that Private Lindy England was photographed leading an Iraqi detainee leashed like a dog. Part 4, legalization. Let's now look at the aftermath of the Abu Ghraib scandal, seeing how America has moved by degrees to impunity for perpetrators and to legalization of the CIA psychological torture techniques. Confronted by public anger over detainee abuse at Abu Ghraib, the Bush White House has fought back by defending torture as a presidential prerogative. By contrast, an ad hoc civil society coalition of courts, press, and human rights groups has mobilized to stop the abuse. If you'll indulge a personal remark, watching, for example, our military lawyers, our corporate lawyers, the legal community, the psychotherapeutic community in part, the medical community, many components of American society mobilized in a time of war to fight this abuse is an extraordinary tribute to the strength, the ethics, and the qualities of this society. So my critical remarks, such as they are not, I think, devoted to the whole of American society. They're focused. For example, in 2006, the Ameican Psychiatric Association banned members with words that are brilliant, surgically precise, targeted at the key facets of the CIA paradigm. They banned their members from exposing subjects to, quote, isolation, imposition of fear, humiliation, sensory deprivation, or excessive stimulation, sleep deprivation, exploitation of phobias, or prolonged stress positions. Now you think of all the thousands of things they could have banned, okay? This list of half a dozen is brilliantly enumerated in order to hit the core of the CIA psychological paradigm. In other words, you read those words, and you then think about my lecture, what I have been describing is those things and nothing other than those things. It's a superb statement by the Ameican Psychiatric Association. Morally courageous, professionally informed, and surgically precise. Superb statement.